Hello and welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and now that the dust has settled around the whole Wing Zero Verka debacle, let's do some Gunpla news. Before we get into the news tonight, though, as always, I gotta give a quick thank you to channel sponsor Newtype HQ. You know them, they've been a part of this channel for a long time, and if you go to newtypehq.com/channel2s, you can get 10% off your first order, and even if you have ordered through Newtype HQ before, use the link anyways because it basically just tells them that I sent you. Newtype HQ is a hobby shop based out of the US. They've got your kits, your paints, your tools, your supplies. If you're looking for something interesting to do while you're cooped up inside all day, Newtype's got you covered. Alright, so let's talk about that Wing Zero. Around the 25th of last month, Bandai revealed that they were going to be announcing a new Verka on the 29th of the month. They were doing this little kind of 4-day event where they were like revealing kits from different franchises over the course of those 4 days, sort of as a replacement for a lot of those hobby shows that got canceled because of the thing I can't talk about on YouTube. So naturally, a lot of people were getting really hyped. There was a large portion of people that still believed the G-Self poll from several years ago, and I understand why people were clinging so tightly to that poll because the G-Self really does need a master grade, but regardless, I feel like it was a large part of what got people's hopes up. Of course, even if there was no G-Self poll, the 4-day wait before the Verka would have still spread all sorts of speculation and rumors. People would have been hyped for whatever their favorite Gundam is. However, when the timer dropped down to 0 and the Wing Zero Verka was revealed, everyone in the Gundam community met it with a resounding cry of, why? The Wing Zero custom is definitely not an unpopular mobile suit, but the reaction to this reveal was near universally negative. And that can pretty much entirely be chalked up to Bandai's really poor choice of marketing for this kit. Had they just announced this out of nowhere, said, hey, by the way, later this year, we're doing a Wing Zero Verka, I don't think anyone would have cared, but they just had to hype people up, and by the time that countdown hit 0, there was no possible way that whatever they had announced could even remotely meet people's expectations. And because of the unfortunate circumstances under which this kit was announced, there is a lot of unnecessary hate being directed towards this kit. I've seen some really dumb stuff about this kit too, like people saying that it's just going to be the old Wing Zero kit in like a Verka box, or that it's going to be reusing the frame or something stupid like that. And the answer to that is obviously no. No, it's not. This is basically a Wing Zero 2.0. The only reason this is called the Wing Zero Verka is because Kotoki technically designed it and they want to get that extra little bit of sales revenue that they get from slapping Verka on the box. All you're looking at right now is a Wing Zero version 2.0, a kit that quite frankly we've needed for a long time. Now, as far as actual concrete information about this kit, we don't have a whole lot to go off of. The frame's going to be more sturdy, there's going to be locking mechanisms throughout it to make the wings more stable and to allow them to hold the Buster rifles better. The rifles will have a new gimmick that allows them to store inside the wings, and most interestingly, it will contain the bird mode transformation from the Glory of Losers manga. And aside from that information, all we have to go off of is a release date of November 2020 and a surprisingly expensive price of 6,000 yen. Now, equally interesting as the Wing Zero Verka, but unfortunately kind of overshadowed by the enormous pile of rage that was lumped onto that kit, is the entry-grade RX-78. Now, this is not the first RX-78 we've gotten this year, unfortunately. Okay, I gotta talk about the RX-78s because Bandai's been doing a lot of these and I don't really like what they've been doing with them. None of them have been really, like, terrible kits per se. They're just releasing too many of them and they're too similar to each other. I really don't want to see Bandai oversaturate the market with a bunch of pointless different versions of the RX-78, but unfortunately that seems to be the route they want to take. Back to the entry-grade RX-78 though, this does look like a really good kit. Right off the bat, you can tell just by looking at this thing that it is nothing like the entry-grade models of the past. The previous entry-grade RX-78 was a glorified statue with like one runner of white parts. The whole thing was white head to toe, no articulation. However, the entry-grade RX-78 basically takes the same fine-build construction method that was used for kits like the Leo and the Maganak and applies it to the most iconic Gundam ever made. As you can see in this illustration, the runners are parted out and organized by section, just like on the Leo, to make the kit easier to build and understand. And the level of color separation on this kit goes far beyond anything even the high-grade line has seen before. Everything from the chin, to the red trim around the eyes, to the eyes themselves, to the forehead camera, to the yellow vents in the chest, even the tiny yellow chevron that is never molded in properly on any of the high-grade RX-78s is present here. This kit manages to have some of the best color separation of almost any RX-78 ever made, and it's not even a high grade. And that sounds great, right? Well, not exactly. This kit looks great, but it's not perfect. The first red flag I've been seeing on this kit is when it comes to the way that it's constructed. I'm not seeing an awful lot of polycaps in this build. A lot of these connections are simple polystyrene on polystyrene joints, and if you don't really handle those super carefully, they can wear out pretty quick. In fact, I'm not sure I see any polycaps at all on this build. And seeing as this is a kit that is targeted directly at beginners, I think a lot of them are going to want to play around with and handle their kit after they build it, so I don't think it's a super great idea to not use polycaps in the build. Regarding the articulation itself, it's simple, but what they're doing with those simple joints is actually pretty effective. He seems to have a nice knee bend, good ankle movement, and despite the elbow only having a single joint, it bends about as far as a single joint can. The torso movement looks to be absolutely fantastic, but again, if the joints on this kit aren't durable enough to withstand the level of posing and play that a beginner would want to apply to it, that articulation can only get it so far. This kit definitely has a lot of potential, and it could replace the RX-78 Revive as the definitive beginner Gunpla, but I still have my doubts. Next up, we'll be looking at a brand new high-grade announcement that just came out last night. I am so excited to talk about this, guys, because this is literally one of my top three most wanted high grades ever, and this is the year we're finally getting it. Ladies and gentlemen, high grade After Colony Gundam Heavyarms TV version. I cannot describe with words how long I've wanted this kit. This was one of the first kits I wanted when I got into the hobby, and I was so disappointed that something like it didn't exist. The color separation on this is beautiful. The sculpting is fantastic. The articulation looks great. I really cannot nerd out over this kit enough, because this is everything that I've wanted. Right now, we only have a couple pictures of this kit. We have this beautiful CGI front shot, and then we have an action shot of him with all his hatches open, showing that he can do what Heavyarms does best. He's got the arm knife, he's got the secondary handle for the machine gun, he's got all the hatches that open up. I am so freaking hyped for this kit. This kit comes out in October, and I seriously cannot wait. Also coming out in October, but quite a lot less impressive, is a variant of the Astray No Name from Build Divers Re-Rise. Now, we have no name for this thing yet. Ironic, considering it's based off the Astray No Name, but this time there is actually, literally no name for it so far. And the first thing I noticed about this is that this time they're actually being honest about the cloak color. Instead of baiting and switching us out with a gray cloak in the official images, they're actually showing it in the correct colors, and I gotta say, it actually looks pretty cool. Now, we know nothing about this kit outside of what we've seen in the images, but some interesting theories I've seen seem to suggest that this could be Mei's mobile suit, seeing as it is a combination of white, black with little teal accents, and I definitely see where they're coming from. This type of ninja-like suit really does look like something Mei would pilot, but unfortunately the show's been put on hold for God knows how long, so we just have to guess based off the kits. So another wing announcement we got recently that doesn't really have any pictures to go with it, but has been confirmed to be coming out, is a Master Grade Sandrock Armadillo coming to the P-Bandai webshop. Now, I don't think this is much of a surprise. We basically got all the other Glory of Losers equipment variants before this, so it's nice to see that we're finally getting Sandrock to wrap up the set. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the Wing Zero with its manga-exclusive Drybuster not long after the Verka comes out, as a way to finally bring the whole team together. So coming out this month, we got the Gundam Beyond Global, and finally, the very month that the kit comes out, we're actually getting proper official images of it. They really wanted to hide this kit for the longest time. I kind of think that Bandai might be a little bit ashamed of it, because it is a pretty bad looking kit, and now that we're getting the entry grade model as well, I really do have to wonder what the point of this thing is. So the Beyond Global Gundam is yet another high grade RX-78 that is yet another new mold kit that is really, I think, not that great looking. Now, from a detail standpoint, purely looking at the color separation and the engineering, it's kind of cool. I like how there's little bits of frame exposed on the shield, on the forearms. That's kind of neat, and unfortunately, that's about all the nice things I can say about this kit. The proportions on this thing are just a mess. I understand updating the proportions on a classic design to make it fit in with modern kits, but this just takes it way too far. I don't even know what they were going for with this. It really just looks like a mess. Now, it does seem like it is going to have a lot of articulation, but with how many other hyper-articulated RX-78s we have nowadays, I can't say that's enough to make me care. I mean, when we're in a world with the Origin RX-78, the G40 RX-78, the Revive RX-78, and the Entry RX-78, I just don't see a place for this one. I believe late last month, actually, we got a name reveal for the Saturn X unit, revealing the Saturn X Gundam to be the Saturn form of the Planet System armor. This is probably something that would have been announced in the show alongside the release of the kit, but as I mentioned earlier, the show is currently on hiatus, so that wasn't able to happen. Man, I really hope Re-Rise is able to recover from this. Speaking of Re-Rise, we did also see the full reveal of the premium Bandai Eldora Windom. I think this is an extremely okay looking kit. I don't like it as much as the normal Gundam. It is using the binder gun, I think it was called the binder gun from Build Divers, as a backpack, and it's extremely okay. I don't think this is a bad looking kit, I just have no desire whatsoever to own it. Probably the coolest thing about it is that it does have a purple beam saber, but that aside, I just don't really care about it at all. The Q-Blade Amberil is another upcoming Premium Bandai kit that is a recolor of, I believe, last year's Q-Blade Damned, and it looks extremely okay. I mean, it's just classic Q-Blade colors on a kit we already got. It was Premium Bandai before, it's Premium Bandai now. I still hate those giant hands and they give me nightmares. If you want one, it's out there. Next up, we have a P-Bandai set that I've actually been really looking forward to, so I'm very glad to see this finally in person. We got a little bit of a teaser of this before, but this is the flight unit and space unit for the high-grade Geminas. Now, just like I suspected, they are releasing these as a bundle that can go alongside your existing high-grade Geminas. It is so cool seeing the high-grade Geminas with the proper armor on it because it just looks naked without the equipment. I've never really seen either of these equipment packs from the back before too, so it's really cool to see what they've done with the backpacks and the legs especially. You seem to get a decent spread of accessories in this 2-pack, and apparently you can do this cool thing with the atmospheric pack where you can actually take the shoulder units and swap them out on the feet. Probably not something I do with my kit, but it's still a really cool look. And while we don't have any new images for the last reveal of the day, I gotta talk about the real grade new Gundam with heavy weapon system and the heavy weapon system expansion set, because this is a new release that Bandai accidentally released on their site. Basically all that happened was someone came across a placeholder webpage on the P Bandai shop, and that's the only reason we know it exists. Now, given that this is pretty much the go-to variant for the new Gundam, it's certainly not a surprise, but it's still pretty cool to see confirmation of it happening. And if this page's title is anything to go off of, we'll be getting both a bundle with the new Gundam and a separate expansion set for the people that have already bought the base kit. And one final awesome bit of P Bandai news has to do with the US web shop, where we've gotten a whole new batch of new pre-orders to go through. If you want any of these kits here, you can get them right now from the Premium Bandai US shop. I'm talking Dictus, Jim Sniper 2 White Dingo Team, Jim Nightseeker, basically all the Crossbone high grades. You can get the X1, the X2 Kai, the X3. They're all available from the US store. The Castfall 3.0, you can get the new Revive Rick Diaz, that's actually just the old kit with some retooled joints. You can even get a Gem 2 AU colors. You have a lot of new kits to choose from here. There's some really great kits in here, and I just love the fact that Bandai is still going strong with the US P Bandai shop. So there you go, guys. Hope you go out and get yourself some cool kits. I'm your host, Second Soundwave. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like. If you're new to Channel 2S, subscribe for more fairly frequent Gundam and Gunpla content. I know I'm not great with schedules, but I try when I can. Until then, though, I'm Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.